Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. In today's segment, we are going to talk to Dharya ji. She is a yogini and she's going to talk about the basic purpose of life. What is it that we are missing today, despite all the facilities what we have, but still we are not happy? What needs to be done to get that happiness? Let's learn from her and welcome her to the program. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A little bit about yourself. How did you get influenced to come to this site?
Well, it all happened in the early years of my life. When I was about 17 years old, living in the Vancouver city, I had my first experience of God. So a supernatural experience, which I could not explain with my mind or through science. So that really began my search for God and landed me in the Himalayas, where I live today.
What is God basically? Because we pray to God, but what is this entity and how can one realize God?
So God, they say, is something that's closer than your breath, your own breath, but it's not something that we get to see every day. Simply because our mind and our senses are occupied all the time with other thoughts. We're always looking externally out. Never do we get a chance to invert and look within. Because although, yes, the search for God may take you on a very long journey, however, that journey will at some point of time lead you inwards. And that is where is your destination. That is where you will eventually realize God. Nowhere else but inside your own self.
So there to realize that that God is within you, and it is a realization. It is not seeing anything, it's realization. So do you feel that there is a need to leave this world and go away from the world and then try to find God? Like you say, you left this world and went to the Himalayas?
Exactly. No, absolutely not. You see, everybody's path is going to be distinctly different from each other's. I had to go away because so much I was in disillusion. I had only believed in what I saw and felt, and I needed to leave this world, leave my circle of friends, and go somewhere far where I can be alone, in solitude, uninfluenced by the world around me. However, I know many spiritual people that are living in big cities, and their own home has become like an ashram. They're doing their sadhana right there in the city itself. So it's not a necessity.
Because for a common person, you know, living in this world, it's not easy to leave everything and go away. Living in this world, how we can live a good life, I would like to know from you today, because that's what, there's a crisis. Despite advancement, technological advancement, we are having everything, but still we are not happy. So how to get that happiness?
Yes, this is actually the message that I wanted to give across to this humanity and to this civilization. And as you had rightly pointed out, we've gone so way down the technological route. We have now materialized wealth and everything else around us, comforts beyond belief and luxury. But in a way, we have isolated ourselves, insulated ourselves from the nature that surrounds us. And this is a key element in self-purification. As we say, enlightenment is nothing but the process of purification. You are already God. There's nothing more to achieve. Simply you remove the layers of dust so you can see yourself and you can see truth and God as it really is. So in this purification process, the effect of nature, the 5 elements which exist in this world, is the exact same elements that compose this human body. When the two come in contact, purification happens automatically. However, we have built ACs, concrete buildings. We're living a very artificial life with a lot of artificial light. So when people go to nature, I find they relax and they purify a lot faster. So I would say at least connecting to nature, to your source, would definitely help to live a happier life.
So that's one way. But with this 8 billion people living in this world, you know, the advancement which we are having, and today is, if you have to sustain ourselves, we cannot absolutely leave this also. But then there has to be a balance. And while today, no doubt, we are having the best of everything, but internally not being strong and not being able to understand. And again, I would like to come and talk a little bit about the importance of rituals and ceremonies. Because today what is happening is a human being is getting engulfed more in ceremonies and rituals, and the means are being given more importance than the end.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about that? Because right now, whatever is happening in the world, whether it is any religion, these things are becoming more predominant, and a person gets just engulfed in those things, and he feels or she feels that I have done my duty about God. You know, I've done my religious duty. What do you feel about it?
Well, this is something I talk about very often to my students, and I say, you know what, it does not matter how many times you repeat a mantra. What matters is with how much depth and devotion you do it.
Right.
So even if we do in our homes any type of puja or part of any type of religion, any type of prayer, and we do it just mechanically, and then we say, okay, that's done, and then we go to the world and do something completely different, that is not going to help our spiritual growth. In fact, all the rituals in all religions were given to us to become better human beings, to come closer to God. So we should do it in such a way that does bring us closer to that end. And it doesn't matter what we do or how much time we dedicate to the rituals themselves. Our time should be dedicated to the purity of our intention, to our devotion, and that can be expressed in any way or form, not only in rituals. You know, helping a friend or giving a smile to a stranger. These are all rituals to me. You know, rituals that should be performed every day, several times per day.
These are the true rituals which need to be performed.
I think so.
Right. We'll continue with the discussion. We'll go for a small break. Once again, welcome back to the program. We are talking to Dharya ji, and she is a yogini from the Himalayas, and she's talking to us about how to live a happy and energetic life. So before the break, what you were talking was that God is everywhere. We don't need to indulge in ceremonies and rituals of the kind of ceremonies we have created today. And basically, ceremonies should be of human values, helping each other, respectful to others, doing your job with you know, honesty and helping others. Right. So now a question comes to mind is that I would like to know from you that we have in this world billions and billions of species which are living over here. Why is the human body, I would say, different from others? What is the major difference between an animal and a human body?
Okay. Well, actually, in our philosophy of Kriya Yoga, we believe that the human yantra is a very, very special yantra. It's actually a representation of the whole universe. You know, we have the two sides, which is the male and the female sides. We have all the 7 chakras, the 7 energetic points in our body. In other words, you can say there's a different type of God residing in each part of our body. And if we liked, we could receive all the knowledge of the universe through this machine called the human body. The problem is that not many people realize this. They don't understand this gift that they have been endowed with. They go on wasting their human bodies and their human lives to nothing. They do no research. Instead of going within and finding out who is this? What is this breath? What does this breath do? What is this mind? How does this mind work? How does it create? We have so many parts of ourselves that we could study, and by that we will actually understand the whole macrocosm. Indeed, this is the microcosm of the macrocosm. So that's what I feel about the human body. It's been built in the form of God. Right.
It is. It is in the form of God, no doubt. But similarly, are the other creatures also. But the difference between a human body and an animal is that we have the brain to use that.
Yes, correct.
But the basic thing what we are finding today is devotion. Of course, nothing can be achieved without devotion. But what about blind devotion? Because right now what we are finding is that common people are being conned by conned people who are using their skills to, you know, make fools of the people and not making them understand what basically this life is all about. And similarly from India we find, you know, so many cases coming forward whereby so-called enlightened souls claim that we are the ones who can take you to God. So is there a need for a middleman, you feel?
Oh goodness, you know, just as you were saying this, I was feeling so much pain inside my heart because, you know, human beings' trust is something that should never be played with. Especially when you're talking about things like divinity, especially when you're offering somebody a way to God. That is probably the greatest sin of all, to make somebody a fool on that, to misuse somebody's trust in the divine manner. So I feel the greatest, you know, sorrow for these souls, and of course I wish for all people to have a real guru, a real guide. However, I don't feel that gurus should teach in their children in such a way, their children, their students,
Right.
that they are feeding them, they're spoon feeding them, they're making them dependent on themselves.
Right.
That is not the goal of a guru. In fact, it's the very opposite.
Right.
You know, if I wanted to stay here for eons of lives, that's probably what I would do, but I would like to, you know, do my duty and then bye-bye everybody, ASAP.
Right, right.
So my duty here is actually just to connect the people themselves with the source.
Right.
Not to be sitting and babysitting and do this and do it like that. No, every single human being has inside themselves all the potential to connect themselves to the universe, as I just said,
Right.
to God, find that, you know, direction. But because it is such a long and arduous process, especially in this time, which is called the Kali Yuga,
Right.
it is very, very helpful to have a guide, very, very helpful to have a guru.
Right, but Dharya, when we talk about Kali Yuga and the yugas which we have created, when we talk about Satya Yuga also, these were the same things happening at that time also.
Correct.
You know, it's not that it's a new approach now. Now, because with the media and you know, lots of information being at the you know, at your palms, you know, at the head, just
Exactly.
touching a button, you can. The world has become a global village.
Correct.
So it was existing earlier also, but now what we are finding is it becomes easier for the people to understand and learn about things. So don't you think that again, it's just that these yogas, every time the human mind has been the same, but people who want to misuse the people, as we were talking about, they use their tricks to, you know, kind of fool the people and then not make them align with the source.
Exactly. You know, as you have said, throughout the yugas, you know, good and evil, they come hand in hand. They
Right.
have existed since the beginning of time. So they obviously existed in all the times. It's just what happened with the decrease of knowledge as the yugas had gone down from Sat Yuga to Kali Yuga. What happened is the knowledge had become less available.
Right.
Now this is beginning to change. So we're slowly coming out of Kali Yuga, and now you can see many more spiritual people, many more yoga studios, meditation studios opening up.
Well,
Maybe
that has another aspect, you know, it's more of commercial interest
Oh,
in
yes,
that
yes,
than,
yes.
than,
Well,
than just opening up
correct.
doors. But nevertheless, how important is the intellect in religion or in becoming a better human being?
Well, you know, to say the truth, intellect does not play as big of a part as a good and pure heart. Because with sharp intellects, we have achieved a lot. You know, we've gone so far in science and technology. However, without that sense of devotion, that's also one thing I wanted to say, is that people's trust is very, very important
Right.
to attain God. That's why it's such a shame that it has been misused. However, without that basic feeling of devotion and surrender and that blind faith to your guru, it is almost impossible to reach the goal. You
Right.
see, what a contradiction. With so many few real gurus,
Right.
still the importance of complete faith in your guru remains the same.
That's right.
Yes, because the guru is the bridge who takes you to God. So in a way, you'll have to give your hands and follow this guru and
Very true.
trust like a child. Okay, lead me.
Right.
Then you'll be able to achieve the goal.
Right,
So,
and again, you're very right that bridge, the guru should have been a bridge to take you
Yes.
across.
Across.
But many times, again, what is happening in the society, we know about that those gurus only become the end and that bridge just gets sidelined. Towards the end, with your experience of staying in the Himalayas for the past 5.5 years and now going all across the world and talking to the people about
Right.
divinity and other issues, what would be your message towards the end?
Well, if I could read something,
definitely.
right, from a diary that I had written during my months of silence in the Himalaya. Surrender to God. The greatest happiness, the final liberation, lies in the simple realization and inner acceptance that I am nothing. God is everything.
Wow.
It is the greatest happiness because it frees you from the ego, from thought, illusion, worry, desire, and all your limitations. The moment you renounce yourself completely, your eyes begin to open, and the whole existence, to the whole wonder of life, to the omnipresent God.
Wonderful. There's too much what you have written and would have loved to listen to everything. It was a pleasure having you. Best wishes and thank you.
Thank you very much.